Hey guys, George here from the F1 Chronicle, and I'm bringing you 5 things that we learned from the Miami Grand Prix. And where else can we start than over with the team that I am wearing the shirt for, McLaren. Lando Norris has finally done it. He's come so close to winning a race for so long. Most podiums in F1 without winning a race, and he's done it. Oh my goodness me, I never saw this coming either. They have had good pace through this weekend at times, don't get me wrong, but to actually win, to get ahead and win a race, ahead of Max Verstappen, who has been, all-conquering in Formula 1 to say the least recently, for him to do that is unbelievable. Didn't get a particularly good qualifying, but he made those medium tyres last longer than everybody else, and he got to the point where he could pit underneath while the safety car was on, and not lose as much time, and he had fresher tyres, and Lando just pulled out a gap on Verstappen. He didn't look threatened at all. He broke the DRS before it even got activated again. Superb, brilliant, fantastic. So happy for him. So happy for him. Fully deserved too, like I said. So McLaren, wow, they could actually pull on a challenge here for the second place in the constructors. It is definitely wide open. It definitely is. Been a sweet day for McLaren. Of course, Piastri did not have a good day, but amazing for Lando. They won't really care. He's done unbelievable, so happy for him. Also today was the first point for Alpine in 2024. They had some good pace. They've had some good pace all through this weekend, to be fair. But yeah, Ocon getting 10th. He had a great battle with Fernando Alonso for 9th place. Alonso ended up getting past, but Ocon looked good. He really did look good today. And yeah, some points today for Alpine. So the only guys that don't have points are Sauber and Williams now. So yeah, really, really big for Alpine that, and they could well be challenging the likes of Haas and maybe even the Racing Bulls. Although, saying that, going on the pace of the Racing Bulls today again, impressive. Not quite on Ricciardo's level with his 4th place in the sprint, but Yuki Tsunoda, fair play to him, 7th place today. Does look pretty comfortable for it as well. Yeah, I think he should be very proud of that. The fact he also beat George Russell as well in the Mercedes today, and both Aston Martins. So that Racing Bull has some good pace, and yeah, impressive for him. Some good points again for Tsunoda. Well into the points once again. Next up, I want to talk about Kevin Magnussen again, the guy who made the headlines for all the wrong reasons yesterday. He was again in the wars today, a collision with Logan Sargent. Now, this is a tricky one to call for me, but personally, in my opinion, and you can disagree with this if you want, I have no problem with that. So let's not have a flame war in the comments, all right? But what I will say is that Magnussen and Logan Sargent were battling it out for position. Magnussen was behind Sargent when the contact happened. You could say that Sargent perhaps closed the door a little too hard and could have left Magnussen some more space. But it was at a point in the track when passing is just not really a possibility. The left-right, S's after the first corner. So I'd have to put the blame firmly in Kevin Magnussen's camp for that. It was nowhere near as egregious as the stuff he was doing yesterday by any means, and you could absolutely argue that Sargent was in the wrong there. But please, let us know in the comments below what you think about that one. Very interesting incident for me. But the long and short of it was that Sargent was out of the race and Magnussen had damage to his front wing, which caused a safety car. I'm kind of glad he did it. I'm glad he did it because that meant that McLaren won the race. So, Magnussen's not all bad after all. And the last point I want to make is that Red Bull in general seemed pretty slow. Yes, Verstappen was leading the race in the early stages, but, he couldn't catch Norris. He was like 8 seconds behind at the finish. Big gap. And Perez down in 5th, being under pressure from Lewis Hamilton. Don't get me wrong, Lewis had a good race, but Perez should not be under pressure. And I don't think Perez did a particularly bad job. I just think for some reason today, in those conditions, that Red Bull car struggled. For whatever reason, on long runs, was not as good as the Ferraris, is not as good as the McLarens. So yeah, interesting for sure. Kind of worrying for Red Bull. I still think they're on top, of course, but there we go. So those are the 5 things we learned from the Miami Grand Prix, and the main one being, of course, that McLaren are winners again, and Lando Norris is finally a winner in Formula 1.